at the Grass Valley Library. Thanks for joining me for today's episode of Random Acts of Science. Today we're going to be looking at the states of matter, specifically water, what happens when it goes from a liquid, water, to solid, which is ice, and then back again. So this experiment comes in two parts. The first part is to fill a balloon with water and freeze it overnight. And then second part is working with that frozen balloon. So just an FYI, make sure you plan ahead a little bit and get that balloon in the freezer first. So if you've picked up a bag at the Grass Valley Library or the Nevada City Library, you'll find inside a list of instructions for the project, as well as a list of materials and some additional information about the science on the back, and some other resources you can access if you're interested in this topic. Also in the bag, you're going to find some salt. This is just regular table salt. If you want to do this experiment again, that's all we've got, just regular table salt. And you'll each have a balloon in your bag as well. So let's find out what happens here. We're going to take the balloon the night before the experiment. You're going to attach it to the faucet in your kitchen sink or wherever you can do that. And you're going to fill it with water, and it's going to get about 6 inches around, pretty good size balloon. And you're going to stick it on a plate or in a bowl or hopefully some kind of container just in case something happens to it overnight, and you're going to pop it in the freezer and get that thing frozen solid. It probably would take 6 to 8 hours. So if you start in the morning, you can probably do the rest of the experiment at night. So I did mine last night. I am all ready to go. I'm going to go grab that frozen balloon and we're going to get started. All right, so I've got my balloon. I've got it on a big tray to catch the water as it melts, because we're going to go ahead and get it to melt on us too. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to need a pair of scissors. I'm going to use the blade of these scissors to cut the balloon material off the outside of this big ball of ice. You can do the same if you have a parent who can help you with it. That would be even better. They might have some other instrument they want to use instead of scissors. Anything works. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut this thing off, which is kind of fun in and of itself. And we're just going to peel this right off. Looks like a big crystal ball. So if you look closely at your frozen ball of ice, you'll probably see some sort of shapes deep inside of it. So in this ball, I'm seeing all kinds of interesting things. So this ball of ice has a whole bunch of fissures and cracks inside of it. It's got some different shapes. And yours might have some sort of starburst shapes or other kind of crystal patterns inside of it as well. So what's going on here? What happens when water freezes are the two types of molecules that make up a water molecule, or two types of atoms that make up a water molecule, are hydrogen and oxygen. When oxygen starts to cool down, it starts to form patterns in the form of crystals. And when hydrogen cools down, it just keeps randomly moving around. It's just kind of rebellious that way. And so that's one reason why the ice or the water actually expands as it freezes, because those hydrogen atoms are still moving around. So all these little crystals that you're seeing in here and patterns in here are actually air that was also trapped in the balloon when you tied it off, trying to escape the balloon in order to let the water expand into the space that the air took up. So that's what's happening, and that's why we have all these weird little crystals and formations inside the ball. So we are going to cause this to melt a little bit, and then we're going to see what happens. So I've got some salt. I'm going to grab that. We're going to sprinkle some salt on top. This might take a while for it to melt, so we might come in and out and check back on the progress of it, and you'll probably want to do the same thing at home. I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle some salt over the top of this. Take a little bit of food coloring. I've got some red here, and you may want to do the same thing. It's kind of hard to see what's going on with the white salt and the white frozen water, but if you add some food coloring to it, I'm just going to dribble some stuff on here, we should be able to see where the crevices are and where the melting is happening. Also, this looks a bit like a big eyeball right now, which is kind of fun. So here's a bit of a close-up. It does kind of look like an eyeball, but hey everyone, I'm back. It's about a half hour later or so, something like that. Before I add some more food coloring, let's take a look at what this looks like close up right now. So we can kind of see what's happening inside of this thing. The food coloring has gone through all the cracks, which are widening, and the whole thing is getting pretty eerie looking, that's for sure. So let's make it even more strange and interesting. I'm going to go ahead and add some blue food coloring to the top of this, and we're going to see if it's going to run into places where the red food coloring did not go. I did add a little bit more salt in that last half hour. Okay, it's been another hour or so. This is what it looks like with blue and red on it. I'm going to put one more round of salt, a little bit of another color, and we'll see what it looks like then. So that's what mine's looking like. I hope yours looks equally strange and beautiful, and you had a fun time doing this project together with me. Tune in next week and we'll do another Random Acts of Science.